starting with the evolution and origin of a company. Evolution is about the, you can say, genesis or of a company, or from where it is come from, the word company. Although it is defined in the Companies Act about the company, but from where it is come from, why there is a need for a company, why we need to form into a company, why cannot we run our business without company. So company basically means we need someone else, we need someone to accompanying us, to support us, to assist us uh, in business. So we need persons, we need a company, we need association of persons, we need combination of persons who have knowledge, who have experience in their particular field, in their particular area, to conduct our business activities properly, effectively. So for that we need a company. Uh, and to run a large scale business, to run a medium scale business or small scale business, we need persons, we need individuals who have a capacity, who are competent enough to work in the company, to work as an association, who have knowledge, experience in the particular field. So they form into a company. So that bind them for the performance of their duties, performance of their responsibilities. So for that we need a company. So company is a very, this is not a new term, this is a can say traditional term, company. It's not a new terminology. New terminology we say that corporate sector, corporate, but company is a traditional word. And company means accompanying someone else. That gives you a company, that gives you assistance, that gives you help in the proper, efficient management of your functions, of your task. And for, although definition is defined in the Companies Act 2013 about the company. But company is beyond the definition as defined in the act. How can we see, how can we observe that this is a company? How can you say that this is a company? When you see certain features in that particular place of business, you say this is a feature, and that feature defined, that feature makes itself a different, distinct entity, which you called it as a company. So the word company, as in simple terms, may be described to mean a voluntary. Voluntary means by your wish, voluntary. You want to be a part of that association of person. That is your voluntary. That is not without your consent. Your consent is very important to be part of any association, and that consent should be free from any influenced, any pressurized elements. That is voluntary. You voluntarily associate yourself. You wish to be a part of that association. You wish to be a part of that company. So that is a voluntary association of persons who have come together, because they have come together, joined together, and therefore some objective in their mind. And that objective of doing any business, whether it is small scale business or medium scale business or large scale business, that objective should be legal, should be lawful, should not be illegal, should not be unlawful. And for that objective they all combine together as a voluntary association of persons. And why they are combined together, there are some interest element is involved, some consideration is involved, and that it requires a persons or group of persons to form into an entity, to form into a business unit that is called a company, or now you can call it as a corporate sectors, big corporate sectors. So that they have a huge number of employees, they are working in big corporate sectors. The objective is to earn certain income, that is in the form of profit earning, in the form of dividend, in the form of salary, in the form of increments or other benefits, fringe benefits, financial benefits, non-financial benefits. Some consideration element is involved. Why you form into a business entity? You want to certain interest element is involved, a certain consideration element is involved, and that makes encourages you, motivates you to form into a company, to form into a business unit that gives you some commercial profits. So we can also call it as a commercial enterprise, commercial business enterprise. So their objective is to earn income by the sale of goods and services, by the sale of product and services. That is the objective of any business concern, any business enterprise. And their consideration is to earn profits and sharing the profits therefrom among the shareholders of the company, among the members of the company or employees of the company, in the form of profits, in the form of dividend, in the form of interest, or in the form of salary or other non-financial benefits as you provide to your employees of the company. And that is the essential requirement to form into a company. That gives us legal entity also. As per section 220 of the Companies Act 2013 defines a company. This section 220 of the Companies Act defines a company. That is the definition given in the act, in this section, to mean a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. Okay. So as per this definition, as per this section, a company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. That is, previous company law is Companies Law 1956. That is the previous company law. If it is incorporated under that law, that is also fine. But as per New Companies Act means company should be incorporated under this section. So section 2 of any act, whether it is Companies Act or Industrial Dispute Act or a Labour Act, any act, Payment of Wages Act, section 2 of any act is about definitions under the act, any act. So section 2, just you have to remember subsection 20. Subsection 20 of section 2 of Companies Act 2013, and that defines a company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. Then there is another definition given by Professor Henny. Professor Henny is a professor who has given this definition of company. Is a company is an artificial person. Company is an artificial person. Company is an artificial legal person created by law. Created by law, having a separate legal entity with a perpetual succession and common seal. So company basically is an artificial person. Company is an artificial person. Company is not like a natural person. Company does not have its eyes, ears, a face, hands, facial expressions like a normal persons have. So company does not have these nature. Company does not have its natural. Company is not a natural person. A company is an artificial legal person. Company existence only in the eyes of law. As an artificial legal person, company does not have its characteristics or features as of a natural person. Natural person behaves, have some feelings, have some emotions, have some expressions, but company cannot express his or her feelings, because company only expresses his or her emotions in the form of documentary evidences that is to be presented in the court of law in the case of any dispute by its representative, the directors of the company. So company does not have its natural characteristics as natural persons have. Natural persons can express their feelings, can express their emotions, can express their angerness, their aggressiveness, their happiness, but company cannot express. But company represents by its members, by its directors of the company. So directors of the company, founder members of the company, subscribers to memoranda of the company. So they represent the company towards general public, towards third party agreements, And in the court of law, in the case of any dispute, so company is an artificial person, company is not a natural person created by law, because you have to create yourself as an entity, as a company, and that artificial legal person existence only given to you by the court of law if you are registered company, registered under the Companies Act, section 2, subsection 20. So that is defined. This is a definition given by Professor Henny. So company having separate legal entity. Company is separate from its members, from its founder members, from its subscribers to memorandum, from its employees, and from third party. Company is different. Company is a separate legal entity, separate, distinct from its members, and that is that feature given to company as per the Companies Act. Companies Act have these characteristics, features of a company that gives the company a separate legal entity concept with a perpetual succession and common seal. Perpetual succession means indefinite lifetime of the company. Members may come, members may go, company run as its own. So the addition of the members, the deletion of the members, the retirement of the members, the superannuation of the members, the death of the members does not affect the legal entity of the company, does not affect its existence unless until it is officially wound up by the order of court of law, by as per the legal formalities to be compiled by the company to wind up the company, to liquidify the company, and it is should be as per the liquidation process that is to be compiled with by the company as per the Companies Act 2013. So company, this is a very distinctive feature of the company. Company cannot exist itself. Company has to give its incorporation. Company has to obtain. It is not company cannot formed by a birth. You have to get existence. Natural persons can form by a birth, but that is not in the case of company. Company has to obtain its legal existence by obtaining a certificate of incorporation from the registrar of companies. So with the that is a, you can say, a perpetual succession. That is a very important feature of a company. And common seal of a company, that is to be stamped, signed by the members of the company, by the subscribers to memorandum of the company, or founder members of the company, promoters of the company. Common seal is very important, otherwise the document is declared invalid in the court of law, or it is declared cannot be present unenforceable in the court of law, cannot be proved as a documentary evidence unless until it should have common seal on all the important documentary evidences of the company, important documents of the company, whether it is memorandum of association of the company, articles of association of the company, or annual income tax returns of the company, annual returns of the company, annual reports of the company, or any other balance sheets of the company, financial statements of the company, any other important document of the company. Common seal should be attached with all the documents in order to make it a legally valid document. Otherwise, it is declared invalid, could not be present in the court of law, or declared invalid in the court of law if it is seal is not properly compiled with, properly attested with the documents of the company. So this is a definition given by Professor Henny. So company is not originated by itself. Company has to give its origin by its members, by its promoters. So promoters originate the company, promoters incorporate the company by fulfilling certain legal formalities that is required with the help of solicitors of the company, legal advisors of the company, to form into a company. So give it the origin, to give it is a formation, or in corporation, we need persons, we need association of persons who have knowledge, who have experience, who are experts in their particular fields, whether in the financial field or marketing field, legal fields. We need persons to run the big companies. Without person, companies mere a building make of bricks and cement. So it is merely company. So members give life to the company. Member gives emotions or happiness, everything to the company. So company represents by its members, whether it is founder members of the company, subscribers to members of the company, promoters of the company, employees of the company, workers of the company. Company represents by its members. When you say you are working such and such company, it means you represent your company. So company is the principal one. You are the agents of the company. The directors are the agents of the company. They represent the company on behalf of the company. So it is about the company is an artificial person. Company is not a natural person. Like does not have the features like a natural person. But company represents by a natural person. But company is not a natural person. Company is artificial. Legal person have existence in the eyes of law, having separate legal entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal that defines a company. So company is not born by itself. You have to bond your company by compiling all the legal procedures, all the legal provisions as mentioned in the Companies Act 2013, and you have to compile all the procedures and file a copy of that to the registrar of companies in order to obtain the certificate of incorporation, certificate of registration, you can say, or certificate of incorporation, registration, formation. So that is by this you form into a company. Then moving over to types of companies, or you can say categorization of companies, classification of companies on the basis of, again we classify companies on the basis of liabilities, on the basis of number of members, on the basis of control. So companies on the basis of liabilities, another is again it is a classification, companies limited by shares, company limited by guarantee, and unlimited companies. Then companies on the basis of number of members, that is OPC, one-person companies, then private companies and public companies. Then companies on the basis of control, holding and subsidiary companies and associate companies. So these are the classification, or you can say categorization of companies on the basis of liabilities, on the basis of number of members, on the basis of control. Then companies on the basis of liabilities. Companies, starting with the companies on the basis of liabilities, companies limited by shares. In these companies, the liability of members is limited to the extent of amount not paid by them on their share. So the liability of the member is limited up to the extent of the amount not paid by them. Whatever they pay to the companies, they are not responsible to pay it again. But whatever not paid by them, they are only responsible for that amount to be paid to the company. So their liability is limited up to the extent of amount of capital not contributed by them, not paid by them, not for the amount which already they paid, paid on their share capital, paid on their shares. So the liability is not unlimited as in the case of partnership. In the case of partnership, the liability of partner is unlimited. Their personal assets can be utilized to pay out the dues of the firm. But that is not in the case of companies. In the case of companies, the liability of their member is limited to the extent their personal assets cannot be utilized to pay off the dues of the firm. So they are not personally liable. They are only liable up to the extent of their amount not paid by them. So their personal assets, their personal belongings, their personal land, jewelries cannot be utilized by the company to pay off the dues of the company. So their liability is limited up to the shares amount. Then companies limited by guarantee. In such companies, MOA, MOA's Memorandum of Association mentions amount of money that some members guarantee to pay. So whatever amount you guarantee to pay to the company in the at the time of winding up of the company, at the time of dissolution of the company, at the time of liquidification of the company. So whatever amount you mentioned in the letter of guarantee, that amount to be paid to the company at the time of winding up, at the time of dissolution, and that amount should be mentioned in the memorandum of association of the company. So amount of money that some members, they guaranteed some amount to pay to the company. So they are only limited to the amount guaranteed by them, not beyond that amount. They are not responsible to pay beyond that amount. Whatever they guarantee to pay to the company in the case of winding up of the company, in the case of official liquidification of the company, whatever amount they guarantee to pay, they have to pay that amount. They are only responsible. Meaning is that their personal asset is not utilized to pay off the dues of the firm, to pay off the liabilities of the firm. So the liability is limited up to the extent of the guaranteed amount that is mentioned in the MOA. Then moving on to the company's liabilities on the basis of liabilities. That is again categorization of companies on the basis of liabilities. Then there is unlimited companies. Unlimited companies means companies who have no limits on their members' liabilities. Meaning is that their personal assets, their personal land, their personal assets, their personal jewelries, their properties, whatever personal belongings they have, personal things that they have, that is to be utilized to pay all the dues of the firm. So their liability is not limited. Their liability is unlimited. They are liable to the unlimited extent. That is not that this is the meaning of these unlimited companies who have no limits on their members' liabilities. That is not defined. Liability is not defined. That is unlimited. So you don't never know how much you have to pay to the company in the case of liquidification of the company, in the case of winding up of the company, in the case of dissolution of the company. Whatever amount you have to pay, that is not determined by the company at the time of purchase of shares of the company. That is not defined. That is not limited. That is not a guaranteed amount. That is unlimited. So you never know how much you have to pay. And that amount is determined by the company at the time of dissolution of the company. Meaning is you are personally held liable. Your personal asset is liable. Your liability is not limited. Your liability is unlimited, and it is not defined. It is not mentioned how much amount you have to pay. That is in the case of guaranteed amount. It is mentioned, but that is not in the case of unlimited companies. You never know up to which extent you have to pay to your liabilities. That is unlimited. So the company can use all your personal assets of shareholders to meet its debts during the time of winding up, just to pay out the dues of the firm towards third party, and to settle out the dues, to the evaluation of assets, realization of debts, realization of assets, and payment of debts, and then again whatever amount left, it is left, and it is paid to the members and divided among the members, shareholders. But if nothing is left and the amount is in negative, then you have to pay, you have to share with other members of the company, other shareholders of the company, to pay out the dues of the firm. That is in the case of unlimited companies. Then companies on the basis of members, one person company, that is you can say OPC. So one person company means only one member as their sole shareholder. That is only one member in the case of one person company. This we have already discussed in other chapters about the one person company in detail. But these kind of companies, only one member, one person hold the meetings of the company, one person sign the minutes of the meetings of the one person company, one person sign all the documents of the one person company. So only one person conducting meeting with itself as a one person. So proxy is not there because only one member is shareholder. You have to responsible yourself. You have to conduct your meeting with yourself. You have to issue a meeting to notice a meeting to yourself, because you are the one person. You are the one shareholder of the company, one member of the company, as sole shareholder of the company. But that is a company. This is not a partnership firm. This is not a proprietorship firm. This is a company. This is not a firm. This is not a proprietorship firm. One person companies, you cannot call it as a proprietorship firm. So proprietorship, this is a company, this is a full-fledged company, but this is only required one member. So one person start the company, form the company, sign all the important documents of the company, submit all the documents, required documents, whether memorandum association of the company, articles of association of the company, to the registrar of company, as important documents to be compiled with by the company as a sole shareholder, sole member of the one person company. That is types of companies, classification of companies on the basis of number of members. Then come to private companies. In terms of members, private companies need to have minimum 2 and maximum 200. That is limits of the number of members in the case of private companies. Minimum 2 and maximum 200. But that is private company, you cannot call it as a partnership. In partnership, minimum 2, maximum 20 in case of banking, other business, 10 in case of banking business. But now it is changed, the limit is changed in the case of partnership as well. But this is not, private company is not a partnership firm. Private company itself a company. But with 2 person we can start into private company. We can form into a company up to a maximum limit of 200. Then come to public companies. Public company is itself a company, and that is on the basis, classification on the basis of number of members. Public companies allow their members to freely transfer their shares to others. You can freely, there is a free transferability of share. That is a feature, that is a distinctive feature of a public company. You can freely transfer your shares to others. Secondly, they need to have a minimum 7 members. That is a minimum number of members required to form into a public company. But the maximum number of members they can have is unlimited. Maximum number is unlimited in the case of public companies. But unlimited number you have to define in your articles of association, to how much number is unlimited, how much you can unlimited, but that limit should be defined of unlimited in your articles of association of the company. But number you can have unlimited number of members of public companies, but that is not in the case of private companies. Private companies, you only maximum limit is 200, but that is not in the case of public company. That is a very, you can say, excellent feature of public company to run a big companies, large scale companies, where we need maximum number of members, maximum number of persons, shareholders to run the big companies. So that is a very, you can say, distinctive feature of public company. Public company can have its unlimited number of members, but that unlimited limit you have to define in your articles of association of the company. Then moving on to classification of companies on the basis of control. On the basis of control, classification of companies, controlling element is there. Who controls the company? Who are the owners of the company? who are the founder members of the company, who are the influential persons of the company, who have control over the affairs or the functions of the company. That is, you can say, categorization of companies on the basis of control.